Yes!
Earthworm Jim.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Completionist, and today we're going to take a trip down memory lane, a nostalgic trip. But there's one problem. I've never played the original, so it's not nostalgic for me. So maybe for you guys at home it's incredibly nostalgic, but it's not for me. I'm blind on both fronts. Earthworm Jim HD Edition. Earthworm Jim was the kind of game that as a kid was genuinely uncomfortable for me to play. Maybe I was too young, but I remember being completely put off by how weird everything was. In fact, thinking about it now, I don't even know who or what the game is about. All I do remember is that the main character was named Earthworm Jim, and he was a worm in a spaceman suit with a gun, and he was terrifying.
But Batman, why don't you play the original? HD remakes suck. They don't stay true to the original at all. Hold on a second, this actually looks pretty good.
I'm no Earthworm expert, but let's take that bungee plunge. For this review, I'm going to cross-reference the original Earthworm Jim for the Genesis and the HD reimagining on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation Network. We'll go section by section as accurately as we can. So let's see here. The story of Earthworm Jim, according to the Genesis version, is... well... okay, so there's no in-game cutscene or graphic or even text to tell us anything about the game.
Let's see what it says about the game on the back of the box, or perhaps take a gander in the manual.
Alright, let's see here. Oh wow, this is a pretty lengthy read. I'll try and sum it up as best as I can. Psy-Crow is chasing a small renegade ship. The pilot has stolen an ultra-high-tech, indestructible super cyber spacesuit. The two have a gun-off in which one keeps pulling out a bigger gun than the other until Psy-Crow wins the bout. The renegade begs for mercy, but, and I quote, Psy-Crow is under strict orders from the evil queen, pulsating, bloated, festering, sweaty, pus-filled, malformed slug for a butt, to blast the renegade and obtain the suit. That's her name.
What a lovely name.
Psy-Crow blows up the ship, and the ship and the spacesuit crash land on Earth, where a worm named Jim happens to be running from a regular crow. At that exact moment, the suit falls right on top of Jim, and suddenly the suit and Jim form into one unit. Jim can now control the suit, and with his blaster, he blasts the crow that was once chasing him. In the distance, Jim hears Psy-Crow on the radio, talking to Queen Longnamebutt. The Queen says that getting the suit is crucial, as it will make her more powerful than her twin sister, Princess What's-Her-Name. Jim, in that very moment, decides that he wants to meet Princess What's-Her-Name and pulls out a rocket from his pocket and goes into space. Psy-Crow sees him and follows. This is just so weird.
Now correct me if I'm wrong here, Gerard, but you said that this was in the manual and was not conveyed at all within the Genesis version of the game?
Yeah, I guess it may not have been in the budget to create cutscenes, so they left the source material in the manual. However, all the events I just said are animated as comic book strips, as you've seen this whole time, in the HD remake. So, if we had to compare story-wise, which is more superior, let's give it to the HD remake for, at the very least, explaining the story. Now, I say at the very least because, while all these graphics are very pretty and vibrant, it doesn't quite tell us all the details like the description in the manual does. And we cannot forget that this game had spawned a huge line of toys, comics, and even a cartoon series.
Earthworm Jim, a super suited fall. Jim was just a dirt-eating, chewy length of worm flesh, but all that came to a crashing end. Earthworm Jim, he's such a groovy guy. Earthworm Jim.
I want to say that the 90s were weird, but maybe it's just because we had Earthworm Jim.
At the end of the day, this game is all kinds of crazy, and I haven't figured out if I'm on board yet. Now this next part I find very fascinating. In all the research I found on Earthworm Jim and its grassroots, there's tons of missed sightings and unfinished publications on where it all started, so I'm gonna try my best to make what I can of it. Back in 1993, a company named Shiny Entertainment was created by veteran game developer David Perry. Shiny Entertainment would go on to have a long-lasting relationship with Interplay Entertainment, the company who would eventually go on to have the rights to anything related to Earthworm Jim. With his new company at the time, he teamed up with Doug 10 Naple, I always ruin that, 10 Nipples, I don't know, and the two of them created the characters Earthworm Jim. Previously, the two had worked on Disney's The Jungle Book. At the end of the day, it was Doug who was credited as the creator of Earthworm Jim, and David being credited as the designer.
What happened to Shiny Entertainment?
Shiny Entertainment would go on to be purchased by Atari. Atari didn't do so well later on, so they started selling off their developmental studios. They eventually would sell off Shiny Entertainment to The Collective to form the studio Double Helix Games, which to date is owned by Amazon and is responsible for the reimagining of Killer Instinct and most recently, the Strider Huryu game. And as for Doug, well, whoa. Hey Greg.
Yeah?
Dude, according to the internet, he got a master's degree in art from Cal State Fullerton in 2012.
You mean to tell me that we went to college with the creator of Earthworm Jim at some point, and we could have seen more than 10 nipples?
Technically, yeah.
Whoa.
Interplay would go on to sign an agreement with Gameloft, a company filled with former Ubisoft employees, to distribute the Genesis port to the Nintendo WiiWare. Gameloft also in this agreement was contracted to make a brand new HD port of the game, with no computer code being the same as the original. So yes, this game is an authentic rebuild of the original.
Earthworm Jim HD. Authentically replicated.
Personally, I think the HD remake actually looks really great. The animations are solid, everything is much more fluid, it just flows better. However, purists in the Earthworm Jim fan community cite that the HD remake gets a ton wrong, including animation frames and lazy recoloring of older assets. Earthworm Jim's music is incredibly iconic. Being created by video game music legend Tommy Tallarico, a man who needs no introduction, Earthworm Jim's music is superb. Which is better during the console wars? I think overall Genesis shines a little bit more, and honestly the remake's music is just as spot on as it can be. I think it's wonderful. But here's the kicker to the whole thing, no one from the original team was offered to work on this game. Not Doug, not David, not Tommy, no one. Gameloft did it all on their own. Gameloft actually has a notorious reputation for underpaying their staff and other things of that shady nature.
Look, this is all fine and dandy, but here's the question I have. This game is about an earthworm that rides on a pocket rocket through space looking for a princess while running from a crow. Can someone please explain these level designs to me? The first level is in a junkyard, a space junkyard nonetheless. The second level is hell, space hell. We are in space hell, and the third level, it looks like we're in some type of underwater submarine base. Character designs are weird, enemies are weird, everything is weird!
I think you just answered your own question, dude. The 90s were super weird.
Yeah, no Shubwangis. The Tick, dude. Oh, and Ren and Stimpy, as much as I love them, they were messed up.
But while we move away from presentation, it is important to know that the HD port is incredibly faithful to the original, as the level designs were left the exact same, which to me was a very smart move. Unfortunately, 2 levels were cut from the remake. The bonus level Who Turned Out the Lights, and the level Big Broody, a level featured in the special edition version of this game. Earthworm Jim for its time was considered a global success, and it wasn't very easy either. Having one main difficulty, this game paved the way for challenging games of the early console wars. In the options menu you can alter the difficulty, but in the end, the original setting is the one to choose. Earthworm Jim is a platformer, but it has an odd emphasis on running and gunning. The junkyard is a great first introductory level. He can shoot with his blaster, which is limited to the ammo you must collect. You can jump, holding your jump will give you a helicopter-type glide effect. He can climb, pull himself up ledges, etc. But one awesome thing he can do is that his suit can grab his head and use it like a whip. In this case, in order to move forward, we need to whip the fridge.
Whip the fridge? Why would we want to do— That was awesome! We just launched a cow into space!
Oh, the flying cow.
This game is awesome, dude. What were we thinking? Flying cows!
While yes, this game is fun, it's not the best designed, and the HD remake is true to that bad design flaw. For instance, you can't jump and shoot at the same time, which is kind of a missed opportunity they could have easily done with the remake here. You can't whip in all directions while jumping in the direction you'd like to, which is really disappointing because there's so many moments that will have you whipping across in a timed swing rhythm. It does provide some frustrating platforming, so that's great for sticking to the original, but it brings up that point of aging.
Oh, what? Since the game is 17 years old, you think it's aged poorly?
You'll have a hard time discovering what will hurt you, what's good for you, where to go next. Earthworm Jim is also the kind of game that has 2 or 3 levels that you will absolutely hate, and they are hard as hell. And what's worse is that, again, the HD remake honors that design. The only big improvement they've made is that water level, but overall, these levels that you hated as a kid, you're still gonna hate them. And of course, we've got achievements in the mix as well. There is one convenient update that they did. You can now swap between weapons as you collect ammo. In the original, when you collected the big atomic ray gun blast, you had to use it right then and there. With this, now swapping makes boss fights much more manageable. What really puts a big wall between me and my enjoyment for the game, both the original and HD versions, is that the variety of the gameplay, while interesting and very engaging, is not very cohesive by any means. One level, you're bungee jump battling with a giant booger alien, and the next, you're escorting a little alien dog across a meteor field filled with evil plants. Pepper in a little galaxy meteor bonus every now and then, and mix in the Jim leaving his suit missions. It is slightly dynamic, but overall, it's pretty unruly and difficult, which creates a certain feeling of displeasure for me. You get the feeling that this game offers little room for error and forgiveness.
Well, the game is wacky and fun. I really like these sprites. It makes me want to watch the cartoon series and read the comics. The game visually and audibly is very engaging, and it features the most hilarious thing ever, the groovy screen.
Oh, how can I forget about the groovy screen? Between levels, you can spam the living hell out of your buttons to force Earthworm Jim to say, "Groovy!" all hilariously. You'd think it'd get annoying, but it's the beating of the dead horse that makes this so great.
Oh, one sec. I got this, Gerard.
Groovy! 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 Groove! Groovy!
The HD remake does add a fair amount of content, so let's talk about that real quick. We've got collectibles in some of the stages, which does add a little flair to look out for. While they did take out those 2 levels, they added 3 brand new maps exclusively for the game, and there's an online multiplayer mode, which is pretty damn rad. It can turn into a 4-player mayhem stage rush pretty quickly, and there's even achievements in this game, which they're not very fun.
Let's just find out what happens to Jim, shall we?
Yes, let's.
Groovy!
After starting the game over and over and over and
Gerard.
over and over and over and over and over
Gerard.
and over and over and over and over
Gerard,
and
calm
over
down.
and over again, it's time to finally play Buttville. And this is how you do a last level, at least I think. The first part has you traversing through and dodging different spike patterns via the propeller hover. This part really could ruin your run because it's really freaking hard. Buttville Part 2, while slower, is just as annoying. The devs really weren't holding back, and mind you, again, the HD remake stays incredibly true to this entire plight. After you get to the end, you have to... I don't know what this... Greg, I don't know what this is. Is that Queen Butt? Oh god, that's so disgusting.
No wonder why she has a very long name. It suits her well.
After you whip that thing on this weird conveyor belt, we are then faced with the true final form. Guns don't seem to do much, there's spikes all around us that will probably kill us, so I really don't see much of a good idea as to where to go from here.
You should try whipping it in the face!
When it comes to the original Earthworm Jim, there is no completion bonus. Beating the game on any of the console versions just gets you the ending, which features Princess What's-Her-Face being smushed by the cow in the very beginning of the game.
Ironic cow fling to the end of the game? Everything was for nothing? You killed her? I can get behind that.
The original versions, for as hard as they are, actually have several cheat codes. It's a fun little thing if the game gets too hard for you, something that was clearly left out for sure in the HD remake. I was curious as to what the ending or what different situations would transpire if I played on a different setting of the HD remake version of the game. And apparently, if you beat the game on easy, you are deprived of the ending, mocked for doing so, and then you are given a very long explanation of facts about worms. That's actually pretty awesome.
I'm not sure those facts are real, Gerard.
Beating the game unlocks 3 brand new bonus levels that are all based on technology of the late 80s and early 90s. All of them are fun and interesting. I'd even say they're even well designed. But for some reason, the last bonus level features a boss that is literally the internet viral video keyboard cat. You know the one. Completing these levels gives you some bragging rights, I guess. Does unlock the spacesuit for your avatar in the 360. The online co-op is alright too. The achievements are pretty straightforward. So that's fun, and
Gerard, you sound down. What's wrong?
let's go over to struggle. So here's the deal with Earthworm Jim HD and its achievements. The first 10, very easy, fun, borderline exciting, not too difficult, but challenging enough. But then, there's a massive spike in difficulty in the achievement list with the last 2 achievements that are overall batshit crazy. Earthworm Never Dies and Superhero. These 2 achievements are so stupidly hard that I want to have a little quick angry rant about it.
In the struggle? Doesn't that seem kind of late in the... Oh, well, what... Commence angry video game jihad rant!
These 2 achievements are so freaking stupid. Holy hell. Earthworm Never Dies has you playing the game on the original setting, better known as the hardest setting, without dying once. Now, I bet you're thinking to yourself, sure, it's doable. Just take your time. Take your time, Gerard. Well, why wait and take your goddamn time when you can also knock out the Superhero achievement, which has you beating this game on the original setting? May I remind you, the game is hard, and because it's hard, it's not short, in less than 50 f***ing goddamn minutes.
This rant, I understand it. Do I dare ask if you get anything from it all?
Bragging rights to you, your family, and your pet worm.
Do you really have a pet worm?
No,
Oh, it says it
okay.
in the game. Sorry, man.
Let's wrap things up here. Is the HD remake better than the original? I'd argue yes. Visually, gameplay-wise, and audibly, it's a pretty great remake. But that's just coming from a guy who's never really played Earthworm Jim, let alone, I'm not really a fan of Earthworm Jim. New people to Earthworm Jim will really enjoy the HD route. Nostalgia folks will probably stick to their guns with the Genesis or SNES versions of the game. Well, I gotta say, after looking at both games, I can see the appeal of Earthworm Jim. Its weirdness and quirks are a good time, but I can't say I recommend the game to someone who's never heard of Earthworm Jim. If you love the 90s and the weirdness that goes along with the whole cartoon era of things, you'll definitely enjoy this game. The HD remake is great for newcomers, but if you want to be a purist, you can pick this up on the WiiWare port available on your Wii or Wii U. However, completing this game is definitely not worth that extra effort. There is no value in completing this game. It's true. The HD achievements are just way too hard and there's no reward. So, with that in mind, this game gets my very stern completionist rating of play it.
Earthworm Jim.
And after you play it, be sure to subscribe. Missed last week's episode of The Completionist? Give that a click right here. Or if you want an in-depth guide that explains how to complete Shovel Knight by The Completionist himself, that's Gerard, by the way, give that a click right here. Back to you, sir.
That's all the time we have today, guys, so please, as always, leave your thoughts anywhere on the internet that you'd like. Twitter, Tumblr, Face, Twit, Tamblegram. Haven't said that one in a while. Face, Twit, Tamblegram. Do it. Or the comments below, whatever you see. Whatever you see. Are you here? If you're here, you're still here, if you made it all the way through, hashtag what up. Hashtag what up. No, you don't have to hashtag. Anyways, now if you excuse me, Greg, take it away. What do you got? If you got to this part in the video, you have to know what's coming next. If you have to know the next joke. You've seen the episode. What's the joke going to be? Greg, take it away.